This is Sneaker Gears, and welcome to week 8 or 2 months into Running Gearz. We've had some success, some failures, but thank you for joining me for the journey. As always, I'm going to go over what shoes I went through last week, my ups and downs, and what I've learned the last 2 months. Let's jump right in. If you're new to the channel, thank you for joining. Running Gearz is essentially me being a little bit overweight, just starting to run 2 months in and not being in the best shape, and just my journey. So thank you for joining. I have been reviewing shoes for a few years now, mostly for basketball and training, but running is a whole new sport and a whole new dynamic that I have not done consistently until recently. And I do want to go over another video on what has allowed me to be more consistent, because previously I had a lot more injuries whenever I would start to run. I would run for 2 weeks or a month, and 6 weeks probably the most, and I would always get hurt and that would derail me, and I just wasn't comfortable doing more running. 8 weeks in, I feel good. I have gotten sick. Last week my goals were cut short because I did have a sore throat. Praise God, not COVID, no fever, but it was accompanied by kind of a mucus cough. So obviously those two things are kind of scary. So I did actually take a few days off just to let my body recover, since it has been rainy and rather chilly here in the Chicagoland area. But with all that said, my first run of the week was actually a 1 mile run with a 40-pound weight vest in these. These you probably haven't seen before. Let me take a look here. Yeah, these are from 2013. I've been collecting shoes for a while, guys. If you take a look, not much wear, actually. I have not worn these quite often at all. Love the look of them. This is the Saucony Verada. This was kind of the little brother to what was obviously the much more popular version of the Kinvara. The Kinvara you can buy right now in its 11th generation. I think this only made 3 generations, obviously being 7 years old. But the Verada was a 0 drop shoe. So your foot, without having any heel lift, was completely flat. It's also very stable. The cushion is just enough. It's adequate. So if you've ever ran in a heavy vest, you want to run in something more stable. A lot of CrossFit communities, if they're doing like a Murph run, you want something that's comfortable, but if you have a 20-pound vest or any kind of weight on you, you don't want it too soft, too bouncy. Otherwise, it kind of ruins it. It feels really awkward. You don't feel safe. So these were awesome to run in. The prior week or 2 weeks, you can look in the videos, I did a 40-pound weight vest run, and I was doing about an 18-minute, obviously, jog. Shouldn't call it a run. I was able to keep up at about a 16-minute jog. So quite an improvement, just being more comfortable with my core strength, holding myself up, being a little bit more stable, keeping my leg drive. Obviously, still very tiring. I actually did a half mile, did 50 squats, and then a half mile, another 50 squats, air squats. So I was able to do 100 squats and 1 mile in these, which is quite a workout for the first one in the week. Felt good, felt strong. And if you're looking for something similar to this in any means, the Kinvara is actually only a 4mm drop from Saucony. So it is still roughly pretty stable, and I would say probably a nice alternative to this. I am looking at possibly getting the Kinvara 11, but obviously with my size and weight, I'm not getting too many minimal cushion shoes, just because I'm not able to really take advantage of it and keep me from getting injured just yet. All right, for my second run of the week, I actually went to the track and I was doing, my goal was to hit kind of a 2-minute 400 meter, which is still pretty quick for me, followed by just a walk for the second 400. So essentially was about 2 minutes, and the walk was probably closer to 4 minutes. So I used 2 shoes for that. The first one was the Vomero 14 with the full length zoom and the React. I didn't bring those out just because I had those last week in a few weeks, nothing special, but obviously my feet were still a little bit sore from the day prior, so I wanted to use something that had a decent amount of cushion but still felt pretty quick, as well as I wanted to start it off at least for the warm-up and for the first lap with something a little bit heavier. Then I went into these bad boys, the Brooks Hyperion Tempo. This thing is continually surprising me. Just for sizing's sake, I still did a 13, which I am on a lot of Sauconys. So that was on the Verada. This I did a 12 and it just fit fantastic. This upper just forms to your foot. Felt a lot quicker on this. I was able to hit my 2-minute points pretty solid with this. My walking actually was closer to about 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Overall, I ended up finishing the day with about 2.25 miles, just to give you guys an idea. The cushion on this is very light. It still has a nice kind of pop to it. There's no carbon fiber plate, nothing fancy in it, but it just has a little bit of stiffness to it, so it does push you forward just a little bit. It is similar to the Hyperburst on Skechers, but it feels like it has more cushion, so it absorbs the impact better, which I really enjoy and I would say is more needed. So even though it has a little bit less bounce, you still feel that, but the impact protection is great while also being super light. And one thing I really do enjoy about this shoe, especially psychologically for me as a collector, is a lot of rubber coverage. I'm not afraid to use this, where I do want to use it more and more as a trainer, because I know it has a lot of life in it. All right, so for my third run of the week, I actually wanted to do something that was brought up. I heard it on a channel on YouTube, I forgot, and it was Arnold Schwarzenegger's kind of fartlek, where he would run for 1 minute, walk for 1 minute, and he did that for 50 minutes. I need to get on that level. I'm not there yet. My body's still being sore. Took a day off, so ran 2 days. Took the Carbon X. This is something that I feel comfortable going fast in. You feel that pop, plenty of cushion, so recovery. And the fit on this, again, I went with a size 12, and this is something that's very wide base. You feel very stable. This is one of those shoes, every time I run in it, I'm looking for possibly a second pair. So that's when you know a shoe is good. We're like, man, I got to get another one of these. Anyway, I was able to do probably low 20 minutes. I think I did 22 minutes worth of that kind of minute sprint and minute walking. And the sprint portion, I was able to get to about that 7 to 8 minute pace where I felt pretty comfortable, and I'm not comfortable keeping that up. So that's what I'm working on. And looking back in the week, I really needed to do a lot more kind of low and slow miles and just get those miles underneath my belt, because I think that's been one of the key points as far as me not getting injured, as well as just getting my heart, my lungs, and just the ligaments in my toes used to the mileage. But I did, oh goodness, I think I probably did 1.5 miles worth, so it wasn't much. That was the run. I remember my wife called me. I had to hurry home because she had dinner ready. So the run was cut a little bit short. Just I did it in the afternoon before I went to work. So could have done more, and I wish I did, because the week kind of caught up with me. My last run was supposed to be kind of my low and slow, just taking it easy, and I did that in the NovaBlast. Now, if you guys didn't check out my last video, I did do a lace swap on these, which I think makes a huge difference aesthetically. I did wear these casually throughout the day, so when I was ready to go for my run, I literally just went out for a run. I probably should have stretched, to be honest, and kind of warmed up a little bit. I was able to do on this, my goal was 3.5 miles, and I got in 2. A failure, but again, it was coming home, getting things done where my wife gave me a time limit and I just wasn't fast enough to get the miles in, or I just got to give myself more time to run. So these, super cushioned. The longer I ran, I felt like the forefoot didn't have as much cushion as I like, just because it is such a soft cushion. You really do feel it compressing, and it doesn't bottom out. There's, even on the bottom where it's completely compressed, there's still a little bit of bounce right there on the end. But comparatively to other max cushion options I've ran in, even this week with the Hoka, with the Infinity React, looking at the Triumph 17, this does not have as much cushion I was like in the forefoot. I believe it's a 10mm drop going from a 34 to a 24, and the kind of cushioning this is incredibly soft. very unstable. This reminds me kind of how Boost was when you first tried on Boost. That really soft, fluffy, and when you start to be aggressive in it as far as actually running, it can bottom out, especially at someone with my weight, or if you're a beginning runner, you're not picking up the pace as much. Also, what a lot of reviewers said, and I thought initially walking around, I like the fact that it is not very stable. It allows your foot to move however you move, both good and bad. But at the same time, I was wishing for a little bit more stability. Not that I need stability, but just gave my foot a little bit more guidance. Now, when I run on the outside edge, a mid and forefoot striker, and then I push off. So it allowed me to move very naturally into my stride, where I kind of hit the midfoot, rolled off, and pushed. But I felt like I could have rolled completely. So it was something that I enjoy it, and unfortunately, like a lot of reviewers, I do want to run in it more. I think it looks good. It is actually very lightweight. It's very comfortable, but I got to see how it works in my lineup, because I already have the Hypermax from Skechers, which is phenomenal. The Triumph 17. Now these are shoes. The Triumph 17 is a little bit heavier. The Infinity Run is a little more stable. So this is probably right up there with the Skechers Max Road 4 Hyper, as far as being very lightweight, having a lot of cushion. And between those two, at least right now, this is really one run, I probably want to run in those. But for the upcoming week, I'm going to have both those on. I'll do kind of 1.5 miles, 2 miles in each shoe and really see how I feel. So I'll have that coming up for next week. So I ended the week with 4 runs versus 5, just letting my body recover. And I think right around 7 miles. So if I was able to get my 5th run in, if I gave myself more time where I wasn't kind of forced to run back in with my wife and time constraints, my body felt good getting over that hump as far as doing 8 miles, 9 miles, 10 miles. So I definitely want to be able to push that pace for the following week. And I do want to have a full updated video as far as what effects 2 months of running have had on a new runner who's not in shape. I know a lot of people have talked about, hey, you know, I went from doing a 11-minute mile to a 9-minute mile. And I'm like, wow, you guys are quick. But important thing, if you're a new runner, don't compare yourself. Improve on your own paces, on your own speed. Do everything you can to stay healthy. That's a big thing. There's a lot of running channels out there, and I've been watching a ton, learning as much as I can as far as stretching, as far as recovery, as far as doing the right things, active warm-up. So when you go out there, you don't get hurt. You're not putting too many miles. You're not pushing yourself too hard. So you are able to enjoy it a little bit more. I don't like running, but I am enjoying the fact that I'm improving, that I'm seeing results, that I am getting a little bit better, and that is very motivating. And obviously just being accountable to you guys. I appreciate all you guys who watch, and hopefully it's a help to any new runners out there, any bigger folks out there, men and women who are looking to start running. Hopefully this can motivate you, and I know you guys motivate me by just watching and commenting. It's a big help, and I do thank you guys. As always, if you like that video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, put your comments down, ask questions, give me advice. What can I do? The more I can help, it really is my only goal. If I can help someone else out there, I'm glad, and that puts a joy in my heart to know that some work I've done is putting some good out there. So guys, as always, girls, really appreciate you guys. This is Levi, and I'll see you later.